Alright, what's up? Gonna go over a video here talking about my character that just got 6th place in the most recent hardcore weekend tournament ran by Vision GL. So it's a Bladedancer, rogue class or whatever. The primary attack skill is Flurry. And first off, talking about it, I got up to wave 130, and it's when I looked, it was like 61, I think. It's now down to 63 on the lifetime leaderboard for this patch or whatever. Alright, so talking about the build. Basically, the whole build is based around this node, Disembowel. Every third non-channeling melee or, other attacks or whatever inflicts bleed, and when you put 5 points in it, it's 5 stacks of bleed. So, why is this powerful? And especially for a race character. Well, Flurry, we look at the more information here, you see it has 40% reduced chance to apply ailments on hit. So even though the actual skill tree of Flurry has a lot of stuff buffing ailments and damage over time, bleed effect, a bunch of attack speed, things like that, of course, because of the 40% reduced chance to apply ailments on hit, it's like not as easy to scale direct ailment chance with Flurry. So obviously, why this is powerful is this bypasses that reduction. So effectively, while normally if you had 100% bleed chance, for example, on a hit, and you attacked 3 times, you would apply 3 bleed stacks because of the 40% reduced chance to apply ailments on hit. Instead, you would apply, not 300 or 3 bleed stacks, but less than that. However, because that passive bypasses this, is that those passive points are effectively a colossal amount of bleed chance. So basically you want to do 5 divided by 3, and then that number is 1.66 repeating, so 167 bleed chance effectively per point. And then divided by, I think, 0.6 to get the 40% reduced chance or whatever. And so this is effectively like something like 60, 80, somewhere in there, bleed chance per point. So if you compare it to other things on the tree, like this is like 5% per point, this is like 5 to 10% per point, depending on whether you're wielding 2 swords and things like that. Getting like 40, 60, 80 bleed chance per point for only 5 points, and this is also available very early on, is massively powerful. In addition, because we are then using Flurry as a non-channeled skill, we mainly want to scale our attack speed and things like that. We are going for force waves just for having the range and the clear, because basically you kind of play this as a melee ranged hybrid where a lot of your survivability comes from being able to hit things from far away while they cannot hit you. That's a great way to scale your survivability. But also we get to use this node, which also gives us 6 health and a 8 mana gain. This is a very mana not costly build, so the mana isn't really important, especially because you already get some back from shift and that. But the health gain, that's 6 health on hit, pretty powerful because it means you don't need to get health on hit on your weapons and things like that. Then pretty much everything else is like you just want to cap out glancing blow chance. You want a lot of percentage dodge and percentage armor. You go for obviously dual wielding stuff. Here you could get percentage dodge, which is pretty important. Here you could get a bunch of attack speed, which is pretty important. Here you can get glancing blow chance. This is a 1-point wonder. Just to unlock this, which gives Dusk Shroud chance and percentage attack speed. Here, global damage. You can go into this for other damage if you want, but it's not really important. This is also a decent node if you have extra points, but I only played this character for I think 16 hours or so in total over the weekend. I'm pretty busy with finishing my semester of college right now, so I didn't have very much time to play over the weekend. I think I could have pushed a lot higher, and I think the actual build strength could have pushed a lot higher. I've pushed it to 200 waves or so on softcore as a prior testing for this. This node is also pretty good. Maxing out this node is good. Here's another 1-point wonder. Here I normally only put 3 points in this. With the items that I got, I think I could have actually dropped this down to 2 or even 1 point, because you don't actually need that much Crimson Shroud chance. Then you go here, get a bunch more attack speed. Here It's pretty important. I go for the dual wielding swords to get a bunch of glancing blow chance because I want to cap out my glancing blows. This was a hardcore thing. Basically, this entire build centers around the fact that this is as much damage as you ever need. You don't need to gear for damage, you don't need to itemize for damage, your affixes don't need to be geared toward this damage, and neither do your passive points. You essentially can build every single other part of your character defensively with just getting these 5 points, and that takes care of enough of your damage to easily push to 200 plus waves. Then you go for the perfection stacks. So you get 10 stacks of perfection that give you 50 flat armor and 50 dodge each. So that is 500 flat armor and 500 flat dodge. This essentially, whenever you get hit, you lose the perfection stacks. So this is a 1-point wonder taking for the stacks per melee attack. So that when you get hit, is your most vulnerable, is getting hit after the first hit. Because not only will you have taken the damage from the first hit and not be at maximum HP, but you also have then lost whatever that dodge and armor was. So you're not only more likely to get hit, but you will take more damage when you get hit for a second time. What this essentially should read as is whatever perfection stacks you would have reached when that second attack comes, you now reach double the amount of perfection stacks. So it basically guarantees that you will have more armor, and because those stacks give more dodge and things like that, you will also space out those attacks more frequently, so that you will actually reach the maximum before you get hit again more recently. So even if you are going to reach the maximum before the next hit, increasing the likelihood and reducing the time so that you can get hit by more attacks more frequently is a pretty nice bonus. Here you get damage taken at low health. It pairs very well with endurance. Here this is health gained when you hit per stack of Shroud, but it is only on rare or bosses, or on kill for regular enemies. So this is just a 1-point wonder. It just helps in keeping your sustain high because you can build full tank and you don't really need to build damage. The actual weakness of this build is kind of the health sustainability and regen and like leech availability, because you can't leech very easily from bleed. So this just helps against those rare enemies, which are more likely going to be dealing more damage. And then Silver Shroud stacks or whatever, also very nice, helping to space out hits and keep yourself defensively once you do get hit, things like that. There's a couple other points you can take in here. If you want to, when you have more like frailty chance, things like that. Basically, some other stuff I focused on in my gear was getting chill chance and blind chance. I'm getting frail chance from some of my other skills. So the tree here is pretty self-explanatory. You basically beeline early game for force waves, and then you just go for generic attack speed and bleed damage over time stuff in here. We don't need physical shred because I'm getting that from shurikens. So these are giving me a gigantic amount of percentage armor for each shuriken, and I'm having, I believe, 5 floating around me. And they last for a while. They're piercing, and then down here they're doing 200% physical shred per hit. So that's where my physical shred was coming from. During the course of the race, you had to have shurikens on your bar, but you can also autocast them through shift. So I would have done that, and shuriken could be something else. Probably Lethal Mirage would have been the best option. I'm getting a bunch of frailty chance from Smoke Bomb. So let's see, where is it? In here. Does frailty duration. I'm also gaining this from Decoy. Main purpose of Smoke Bomb is getting a bunch of dust shrouds, so this increases the frequency. This just gives you dust shrouds, then you make it last longer. It also gives crimson shrouds when you kill, and then it also cleanses ailments and things like that. Also gives some silver shroud stacks. So essentially, to start to go to a pack, I want to have shurikens. If not, shifting towards the pack will give me shurikens. I want to drop a smoke bomb so that I start generating stacks, and then I just start hitting them up. So you can see if I just do this for a while, get 30, 20, 40k bleed hits pretty reliably, and that's obviously without killing stuff. Then next here, again, this is pretty much just for armor and the physical shred. And you get pierced so that they stick around. Shift is pretty self-explanatory. Getting heal is nice. Pathing up to cleansing ailments is nice, just because it's a short cooldown way to cleanse ailments. So you can cleanse dots and other negative status effects off of you pretty easily. You get haste here. and I also use it as another way to have health sustain. So I use it to automatically activate potions as a uh, kind of panic button. And then decoy is like the least important specialized skill, but because I wanted it on my bar, I specialized it because I had to have shurikens on my bar. Um, but pretty much you just go for extra charges. I get other frailty stacks applied. I get haste in here. I get some mana efficiency. I ended up going for additional chill chance and some area basically on this, but that wasn't very important. So uh, for my items, I basically go for attack speed because attack speed is giving me uh, Dusk Shrouds, which are essentially a massive source of flat dodge, and then the Perfection stacks are giving me flat armor, and then I'm getting whatever flat armor from my gear. And while I'm attacking, because I get so much flat, you can see I end up like almost basically capping dodge. I can easily end up getting 5k plus dodge, and then around 1 to 2k armor, which is just a pretty good defensive layer. And that's in addition with having mostly capped resistances. I can get capped endurance, capped crit strike avoidance, and of course, while I'm doing this, as long as I have uh, 5 or 6 Dust Shrouds, and you can see here I'm easily going up to like 16. I have capped Glancing Blow also. You don't really have good Leech. I do. Oh no, I don't. I swept out my weapons. You can, instead of like percentage dodge here, because you actually end up getting a lot of percentage dodge, you could get health gain on hit as well, on melee hit. Otherwise, you're just going for generic attack speed because attack speed gives you flat dodge, and it also gives you more damage, just naturally through applying more leads, things like that. Um, and then just like generic physical damage, damage over time, dexterity, stuff like that is good. Obviously, defensively, health, vitality, armor, those are pretty good. Here, I dropped the wing guards, which are pretty nice, mostly for the attack speed. Um, the haste is nice if you're going the damage from increased move speed passive, but I didn't have the points to do that. Again, here it's just like resistances, physical damage, health, things like that, getting crit strike avoidance as high as I can, things like that. I also dropped a blood cowl, also pretty nice for bleed. An alternative to this build is you can get the Bastion of Honor. Oh, I also did in the course of this drop the shield. Not sure what tab that's in. It's in here somewhere. Here it is, the other set shield. You already get the Glancing Blow chance maxed, so the 2 set isn't something you actually really want because I don't really have very high block amount or effectiveness, and the block chance is not as important either. So you actually don't want the 2 set, just the single item, it's fine. But if you get the Bastion of Honor, you can retool this tree and take out some of these nodes that only work when dual wielding, and instead just put them into other defensive stuff. And the build pretty much functions the same, except it would be actually a ton tankier with the Bastion of Honor shield. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to farm it. Oh, I ended drop. I got incredibly lucky by actually gaining the chance to gain Dust Shroud when you use a melee attack that hits. This is a rare affix, but it's extraordinarily powerful because that essentially basically means I'm gaining double the amount of Dust Shrouds, which actually translate if instead I'm averaging around maybe 8 before, now I'm averaging closer to 16, and because each Dust Shroud gives me flat dodge and I have so much percentage dodge, you can see I have percentage dodge on weapons, percentage dodge implicit here, is that each flat dodge is extraordinarily powerful, so this might as well be whatever 8 times 50, like 400 flat dodge for one affix or something, and that's only a tier 1 amount of the affix. Obviously it high rolled, but still. And then I got the percentage armor there as well as an affix. Pretty nice. So yeah, I got a little bit lucky on gear, but not extraordinarily so. Here, rather than like percentage damage over time, for example, would have been good to get physical penetration, I believe. And then all of my idols are pretty much passive, so or defensive, I mean. So it's like vitality resists, percentage health, stuff like that. Elemental resists, percentage health. Pretty much that's what I went for. Just to cap my resists as best as I could on the short-term basis. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you could get these idols with percentage health and elemental resistance as the two affixes, that would be ideal. And you have 4 of the large idols, and then others are just the stout idols with percentage health and like either elemental resists or flat health or whatever you need. Um, that would be ideal. I didn't really do the monolith very much. I'm not sure an easy way to see that, but um, I basically just did this and then went towards the Age of Winter, I believe. Uh, and I don't think I finished that off. I only have a few. I don't know how to see the blessings I have, but I didn't really get lucky or farm up the blessings very much at all. So yeah, character pretty bare bones, but like still pretty successful. Basically, the goal for the hardcore character especially was have a character that comes online in terms of damage with very little to no investment, which I get from the passive tree, and then use that to catapult myself into farming up to reaching endgame and investing my character entirely into defensives after that, which this character is very successful at doing. I did stream most of my progression with the character, and I would especially encourage people to watch the first VOD on my Twitch channel of me leveling the build and completing the campaign. Because upon reaching Monolith and things like that, my character is basically maxed out at doing damage by level like 30 or so, and I'm already capable of doing easily 10 to 20k DPS with Flurry when I'm in combat and my buffs are up and things like that. Actually, it's easier if I do it this way, because you can hover over. And you can see my actual in-combat DPS here a bit better. And basically, you don't require very much gear or scaling beyond that. And so my farming ability is massively front-loaded, basically. And so my ability to catch up and farm more efficiently than others, especially on a limited time span, was significantly better than almost anyone else in the race that I saw streaming. I was basically doing more damage and farming faster than them. I just had less time to be able to invest, and my character was equally tanky, if not tankier, um, for the amount of investment I put into it. Uh, and that's pretty much it. You don't really need lead chance on gear. You don't really need offensive rolls on gear or idols. You can use either physical damage, dexterity, or damage over time as prefix affixes on your gear for the offensive benefit, but you only need it in a few places. I have like whatever, tier 4 roll there, a tier 5 roll there on a belt. One other belt that would be good as an option is Viper Tail. I was hoping to get that to drop, possibly. It's good for percentage dodge, and it also gives slow, but I was getting slow kind of from some other places. Slow is just nice, it's not really required. I would consider blind and chill to be main, more important, and frailty, of course. Again, here, physical penetration, you can also get the, I forget the name of it. It's like starts with an X. It's a unique amulet that gives you up to 30% more physical damage while at maximum HP. That is decent if you wanted to scale your damage higher, but you don't really need it. Again, just like one offensive roll here, one offensive roll here. The freeze rate multiplier and stuff is kind of useless. No offensive rolls there. There's just the attack speed, the attack speed, the attack speed. No offensive roll here. And then the helmet is obviously nice for offenses, but you could just as easily use whatever rare helmet. And yeah, so pretty effective character, I would say. I think this build, and especially this passive, has been heavily underrated. I think this is one of the most overpowered passives on the entire tree, that it enables a whole build, and for very few points of investment, basically, and the build comes online with very little gear either. I think it's been overlooked by people because they see the appeal of the channeled flurry um, and things like that, and the attack speed is nice, but you can see I still attack pretty much as fast as would ever be needed, and your damage is more than enough. Uh, but I need to invest much, much less in terms of gear and items and affixes in order to get sufficient damage. And I can put all those investment rather into defensives. So especially for hardcore characters, I think this is a superior way to do this build. Obviously, you can only do this as bleed because of the passive. You can't really transfer into poison like some other flurry Bladedancer builds with uh, that have been made using daggers and things like that. But I think the defensive benefits of being able to have block, for example, because you can do this easily with just a one-hander and a shield, as well with like Bastion of Honor, for example. Um, the ability to have a shield, have capped glancing blow, have endurance, have capped resists, have capped crit avoidance, and all these things. Also having frailty, chill, and blind all in the same build. Like all these things stacked together with such high flat amounts of nearly capped dodge, pretty good amount of armor as well. Like you get so much in combination that this is basically just one of the tankiest builds in the game and still does very respectable damage and very respectable clear and things like that. So yeah, that was my build. Overall, it was pretty successful. I think if I had more experience with the game, I've only got 150 hours or so playing it, and had more experience with the game and obviously more time to grind and farm and things like that. Because this build actually scales a lot off of levels. You kind of need to be, I would consider level 70 to 75 minimum really to try and push arena, if not 80. And I only hit 80 myself here. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I got. Let me know what you think. Hopefully this helps people looking to succeed in playing hardcore or just progressing in the game in general, because I think this build is probably one of the easiest playability and low investment ways to do that if you were looking to get into the game. And obviously, if you're wanting to be a competitive player and pushing arena and things like that, I also think this is probably one of the better builds in the game to do that as well, because of the low amount of investment and the ability to go basically full tank. Kind of a whatever polar philosophical opposite to like a glass cannon build. Basically, this is like a completely fine damage build while going full tank. So yeah, anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching.